We offer you an especially warm welcome, especially after how cold it has been outside. We hope you find here a warm welcome for your weariness, your jubilation, your questions, your fears, and your hopes. We are so glad you have chosen to be at this worship service.
Whether you are feeling grinchy this morning or grateful, whether your heart is broken into 1,000 pieces or broken open for more love, whether your mind is troubled by the world or your thoughts are clear and cheerful, you are welcome here. Here in this place just as you are. And because we understand the power of being together, we anticipate that we will not stay exactly as we are, but may be changed by what we experience with one another and by each other's wisdom and curiosity. Let us take some time now to sit together in some quiet and stillness, even as the sounds of life may go on in and around us. Even as our breathing and our hearts beating means we are never really fully still while we're still living. You might place your feet on or towards the floor, with your hands resting in your lap or wherever they are most comfortable. You might close your eyes or soften your gaze towards the chalice or towards the floor to help you get more quiet and centered for this time of prayer. Spirit of life, we gather in this time and place, carrying the burdens of brokenheartedness and the blessings of beauty. Launching into this month that holds so many expectations, some often unspoken but held just the same, and so many opportunities, often too many, but they're just the same. We pause to breathe, to let our spirits catch up with us. Spirit of love, we live in cultures that discourage emotion, silence feelings, pretend things are fine. Help remind us that it is okay for us to feel, to have emotions, to feel the feelings we feel, to experience the emotions that come with being alive. Great mystery, remind us that we are held in a loving embrace of kindness and compassion, even when we have been grouchy or selfish, or we hurt someone. Remind us that at any moment we can feel what we're feeling, choose to accept them, and move through those feelings with gratitude and maybe even curiosity. What do our feelings have to teach us about our needs? With whom do I need to share these feelings? How might I make amends to those I've hurt? How might my heart trust enough to grow? May we open our minds and hearts to the questions and the answers and the mystery that may arise. Amen. And blessed be. Our reading this morning is excerpts from a few holiday sources. You may recognize them, or not. Just let the words wash over you, and you can take a little delight if you're able to guess or you know for sure which one they're from. And just let the rest go. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. And he did the same thing to the other whose houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other whose mouses. I think there must be something wrong with me, Linus, Christmas is coming, but I'm not happy. I don't feel the way I'm supposed to feel. I just don't understand Christmas, I guess. I like getting presents and sending Christmas cards and decorating trees and all that, but I'm still not happy. I always end up feeling depressed. Charlie Brown, you're the only person I know who can take a wonderful season like Christmas and turn it into a problem. Maybe Lucy's right. Of all the Charlie Browns in the world, you're the Charlie Browniest. Senior angel. A man down on earth needs our help. Clarence. Splendid. Is he sick? Senior angel. No. Worse. He's discouraged. Bah! Humbug!
The 19th century poet Emily Dickinson wrote, "There's a certain slant of light, winter afternoons, that oppresses like the heft of cathedral tunes. Heavenly hurt it gives. We can find no scar, but internal difference where the meanings are." Was she capturing a part of what we now call SAD, seasonal affective disorder? I can't say for sure, of course, and I do not suffer from SAD, but my emotions certainly fluctuate with the season. That slant of light foretells chilly weather and the coming holiday season. For me, the internal difference, on balance, is a positive one. Generosity, joy, nostalgia, peace, compassion, gratitude all start bubbling up in me. I will finally open all those letters from charities that have been piling up on my desk, and writing out checks or clicking donate on their websites, it kind of makes the heart grow a little bigger. Warm throw blankets take up residence on the sofas. I haul up what seems like 36 boxes of decorations from the basement. Opening each one reveals old friends waiting to be settled in their familiar places. Memories of holidays past resurface. When our son was young, he would get so excited with anticipation of Santa's arrival that he couldn't get to sleep. And of course, then he feared if not asleep, Santa wouldn't come. But by morning, the plated cookies were always nibbled on and the milk half gone. The magic of giving triumphant. And the memories of when I was young, Christmas morning, gifts eagerly unwrapped, then coldly abandoned as we dressed for Christmas Mass. My brother and I fussing with those clip-on ties. And when we got home, we still had to keep our church clothes on for just a bit longer, long enough for family photos in front of the decorated tree. Many good memories, certainly, but a touch of melancholy as well. Dickinson may have felt it, the slant of light that oppresses like cathedral tunes. Melancholy can show up for me, and also the shadow cast by nostalgia. The delicate ornament broken last year, beyond repair. My own youthful excitement is more dimly remembered each year. The family photo in front of the tree is now more real than the moment it captured. And this year, my first holiday season without my mother, who passed away last January. And this year, the bubbling holiday emotions promise some personal refuge or at least respite from the tide of cruelty and hate perpetrated by our own government and others around the world. But I do not wish to forget nor to ignore the pain and insult that so many are suffering. I will look towards stories of giving and love and community, stories to shelter me, to shelter us, stories to keep hate out, and hold love in. Oh, those warm throw blankets call out to me. Tom, make some hot cocoa, snuggle on the sofa with your dog, watch It's a Wonderful Life or A Charlie Brown Christmas over and over again. Would you blame me? But there is much I want to do this holiday season. There are gifts to shop for, trees to trim, cookies to bake, gatherings to attend, cards to send, family to host, and losses to hold. A lot to navigate, logistically and emotionally. Something may have to give, right? Holiday greeting cards may be more New Year's cards than Christmas cards. Instead of 6 kinds of cookies, there might be only 3. Some gifts may be back-ordered or stranded in tariff limbo. Many decorations will remain in their bins, hopeful of a better fate next year. A few gatherings may be missed. And that's all right, for there is still much to be grateful for. Some gifts given, family gathered perhaps, trees bedecked, cookies baked and shared, friends hugged, carols sung, cards sent and received whenever, losses grieved, and lives celebrated.
Memory, melancholy, moments in time, nostalgia, traditions, and feelings. So many feelings. That Vince Guaraldi tune, Christmas Time Is Here, that Maria just played, has all of that to me. And in our story for all ages earlier, we learned about the Grinch. And following the Grinch's revelation that maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store, maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more, something important happens to him. In the book, the Grinch's small heart grows 3 sizes that day. In the 1966 TV film, the tension grows as the Grinch and his little dog Max are trying to keep the sleigh laden with everything he stole from the Who's from falling off the cliff. And in his efforts to do that, his heart grows 3 sizes. And then he makes his way back to Whoville to return everything. It is a good reminder to the Grinch inside all of us. We don't have to give in to the meaner side of us or the cynic in us who despises the commercialization of the holidays. We can choose to focus on the joyful sounds of singing together, grateful for a new day even without the trees and stockings and tags, packages, boxes, and bags. Except sometimes that choice feels impossible. In A Charlie Brown Christmas, Charles Schulz allows the viewer in the 1965 TV film to see children experiencing and expressing a variety of emotions. In our reading earlier, I quoted the experience of Linus and Charlie Brown talking at the wall on the way to the auditorium for the auditions for the play. Charlie Brown is kind of depressed. He too is dismayed by the commercialism of his time, and his compassion for a small tree in need earns him the derision of his peers. Charlie Brown cries out in despair, "Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?" And Linus says, "Sure, Charlie Brown, I can tell you what Christmas is all about." And quoting from the King James Version of the Christian Scriptures, he says, "Lights, please." And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which will be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace and goodwill toward men. And then Charlie Brown picks up that little tree, leaves the cruelty of his peers in the auditorium with a new vigor in his step. Vince Guaraldi starts playing O Tannenbaum, and Charlie Brown walks out into the night with Linus's words still echoing as he poignantly looks at the stars twinkling. And he smiles and says, Linus is right. I won't let all this commercialism ruin my Christmas. I'll take this little tree home and decorate it. I'll show them it really will work in our play. But it isn't all better. After he places the red Christmas ball on the tree, it bends way over, and he exclaims, Oh no, I've killed it! Everything I touch gets ruined. And he walks away dejectedly. The piano comes back in, and as the other kids start to gather around the tree, and Linus, ever the wise one, says, Maybe it just needs a little love. The feelings of exasperation, disappointment, regret, self-pity, reassurance, compassion, kindness, and so much more show up in the last 4 minutes of this show. Feelings. So many feelings. But like the Grinch, it is not all tied up nice and neat. We might feel a little better, some relief maybe, as they start singing Hark the Herald Angels Sing and Charlie Brown joins them. There's a bit of connection there, perhaps forgiveness, maybe, though not really any acknowledgement for the way they've treated him. In 1965 for Charles Schulz and in 1966 for Dr. Seuss and the TV producers, apologies are left out of the story. These stories, and so many others. In the 2000 Jim Carrey remake of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, there is a comedic scene that follows the Grinch's big realization. Jim Carrey, a master of physical comedy, winds up dramatically on the ground, writhing, saying, ow, way over the top in ever more dramatic ways, as he looks at his hands and bangs his head on the ground, and then he gets up with very exaggerated difficulty, wobbly legs, his hand on his chest, making vocal sounds, and flings himself against the icy cliffs and again to the ground and exclaims, Max, help me, I'm feeling. And we witness his heart's transformation thanks to the special movie effects. And then he cries for a good long while. What's happening to me, he asks. And then the sun breaks through and the strings begin to play, and he says, I'm toasty inside. And he touches his face and says, and I'm leaking. And he turns to his dog Max and says, I love you. And Max leaps on him and starts licking his face. And then the Grinch gets angry and pushes the dog off and says, get out of here, one step at a time. Which at first seems a bit obnoxious and a slide back into his toxic self. But perhaps maybe it's a bit more realistic about how we actually change, a little at a time. In the 2018 cartoon, improvements are made to the Grinch's transformation. While he does rudely interrupt the Who's singing that lovely song with a horn, announcing his arrival, he does take accountability. He slides off the very heavily laden sleigh and looks at the circle and says, it was me. I stole your Christmas. I stole it because I thought it would fix something that happened a long time ago. But it didn't. And I'm sorry. I'm so very sorry for everything. And then he goes back up to his cave and says to Max, who tries to cheer him up, not now, Max. I need to be alone. Feelings. So many feelings. Earlier classics like It's a Wonderful Life also face hard topics and so many feelings. The senior angel saying a man down on earth needs our help, and Clarence saying, splendid, is he sick? No worse, he's discouraged. The 1946 story is based in a town many want to leave, and the subjects of poverty, financial ruin, miserly greed, suicide, and despair are thoroughly visible throughout this tale. And we get to the end and everything is not all tied up neatly. But we do find some hope, some powerful love and the redemption of a town, and the profound gratitude of a life restored. We get to bear witness to what happens when the helper receives much needed help. Do you happen to know when the first holiday film was made? I did not, but I wanted to know. According to a website with a Yuletide blog, in the 1880s, while Thomas Edison was working on the first motion picture camera in America, Louis Le Prince was working on his own in Europe. Le Prince even filmed a few shorts in 1888, one of which is regarded today as the oldest surviving motion picture. It is only a single 2.1 seconds long shot of a horse running, but it opened a world of possibilities. By 1896, the most popular movie was a 50-second clip of a train coming towards the camera by the Lumiere brothers. Legend has it that audience would go wild at screening, sometimes ducking out of fear that the train was really coming towards them. The article continues, just 2 years later, George Albert Smith made the very first Christmas movie. Although only 76 seconds long, Santa Claus was a groundbreaking cinematic creation and an all-around technical marvel. Through innovative special effects, the short told the story of Santa's visit to the home of 2 children on Christmas Eve. The silent film begins with 2 kids checking the chimney for Santa before their maid puts them to bed. As they fall asleep, the maid turns off the lights and the walls of the room go dark. Projected on the right side of the screen is the image of the rooftop as Santa appears and heads down the chimney. The projection fades and Santa magically appears in the children's room to stuff their stockings full of presents. Santa waves goodbye, according to the article. It looks more like a blessing to me, but that could be my profession. And then magically disappears just as the kids awaken. Audiences were likely shocked to see such magic on the big screen. And some may have thought it to be the real Santa, because no other name appears in the credits, so it may very well have been Santa. And if we keep going back in time, in 1843, Charles Dickens writes a novella named A Christmas Carol, which also explores so many feelings. Ebenezer Scrooge is the main character who goes through a transformative night upon being visited by the ghost of his former business partner and then the 3 spirits of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. We can read the book or listen to the radio broadcast or watch one of dozens of film, play, and cartoon adaptations, including the Muppets, all exploring bitterness, selfishness, poverty, class differences, miserliness, as well as redemption, joy, abundance, family, and hearts expanding. An overhaul from bah humbug to profound gratitude at a second chance to live differently. God bless us, everyone. In reviewing so many stories told at this time of year and the wild tales of woe, why do we think we need to only be jolly? Why do so many of us think we need to hide it when we're not feeling generous and joyful? The song may sing, it's the most wonderful time of the year, but all these stories might suggest it is the same as every other time of year, complicated, messy, and oh so very human. We all have a Scrooge, a Grinch in us. We all pretty much at times have self-doubt, despair, a worry that our lives have not made a difference. We have at times noticed perhaps a certain slant of light on winter afternoons that oppresses like the heft of cathedral tunes, or of staring up at the night stars and wondering what is it all about anyways. And because sometimes two things can be true at once, it is perhaps the most wonderful time of the year when we can make an effort to be better, reaching out and sending those cards whenever, to helping a neighbor, even one with signs we may not agree with, to making and sharing the favorite cookies or latkes, and lugging out the bins of lights, ornaments, and decor, or the menorah, and getting the right size candles, or the kinara for Kwanzaa, and getting those candles, of finding just the right small, thoughtful gift, of donating what we can to organizations we care about, including this one, the opportunity to live differently, of being kinder. And because sometimes more than two things can be true at once, and because there are so many feelings, we could pause and sit in the darkness, with or without a candle, with or without the lights on a tree or in a menorah, in a kinara or a Yule log. We could pause and sit and breathe, and give ourselves permission to feel whatever we are feeling without trying to change it, even if other people are feeling something else. Rather than trying to wish for a river to skate away on, we stay right here in this moment and face what we are feeling and face what we have done, all of it. Giving ourselves permission to grieve our losses, for there have been so many this year. Feeling sorrow is important for our well-being. There is a reason Charlie Brown says good grief. Giving ourselves permission to be the cranky, grinchy, Scroogey grumps about all this commercialism and the dangerous people in office and tariffs and the vigilantes of frozen blocks of immigration enforcement and skyrocketing costs of everything and all the noise. Giving ourselves space to be in the numbness and overwhelm. Noticing where we have shut down, closed ourselves off, our hearts shrinking to two sizes too small. And in giving ourselves these gifts, we might also want to give one another these gifts too. Maybe permission to rant for 5 minutes nonstop. I'll just listen to you. Or rage at the top of our lungs, or cry until we are sobbing, and then some more until we are too tired to cry anymore. Maybe you do that while watching one of your favorite holiday movies, the ones with plots and redeemable characters anyway. Pausing to say, why? Why is Scrooge so stingy and cruel to Bob Cratchit? Lucy Van Pelt, why do you have to have so much disdain for Charlie Brown? Why are you such a mean one, Mr. Grinch? Mr. Potter, why don't you leave George Bailey and the nice people of Bedford Falls alone? Or allow yourself to cry along with George on that bridge, on that cold and lonely snowy night. And then, as the feelings pass through us, perhaps, we might just notice some other feelings. We might notice the miracle of birth, whether in a stable or that any of us have been born at all. And we might notice all that we have to be thankful for, all that we have been blessed with, all that we can let go of so that healing may find its way to our small hearts that may grow 3 sizes this day. whether it is our hearts or someone else's, we must let ourselves feel. To be held by emotions, but not held back by them. Feel through them. And then notice the next one, because feelings are impermanent. This feeling has me now. And now I'm feeling this. Noticing, growing our awareness, making choices to support our emotional well-being, our ability to experience and express the amazing array of so many feelings is a gift we can give ourselves and others this season. And if we're not particularly pleased with what we're feeling in a particular moment, because sometimes feelings can get old, yes? We might turn our attention to gratitude, if we can, which helps us tune into other feelings of connection, of spirit, of being in this life. And gratitude may then morph into pleasure, for still there is joy. Now, some of us were taught that pleasure is frivolous, or that maybe we should feel guilty about having pleasure. How can we experience joy or pleasure when so many other people are suffering? Some of us have asked. Well, in the wisdom and words of Adrienne Marie Brown in her book, Pleasure Activism, she says, "Pleasure reminds us to enjoy being alive and on purpose." Pleasure, embodied, connected pleasure, is one of the ways we know when we are free, and that we are always free, that we always have the power to co-create the world. Pleasure helps us move through the times that are unfair, through grief and loneliness, through the terror of genocide, or days when the demands are just overwhelming. She says pleasure heals the places where our hearts and spirit get wounded. Pleasure reminds us that even in the dark we are alive. Pleasure is a medicine for the suffering that is absolutely promised in life. Pleasure is the point. Feeling good is not frivolous. It is freedom. How can we experience joy or pleasure when so many other people are suffering? How can we not? Joy is an act of resilience, an act of resistance, because it is an antidote to apathy, greed, abuse, tyranny, racism, loneliness, sexism, separation, and meanness. And pleasure and joy are often contagious. For behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. May it be so. Amen. And blessed be. As we wait in the spirit of Advent, as we observe the miracles in the spirit of Hanukkah, as we celebrate the gifts in the darkness in the spirit of the solstice, as we celebrate the birth of the Buddha for Bodhi Day, as we honor the one who taught peace on earth and goodwill to all in the spirit of Christmas, let us not pretend to hold it all together, or to be feeling anything we are not. May we listen so we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves in this world. Let us feel so many feelings. And with those feelings, may our hearts grow bigger with compassion, empathy, and love. By faith made strong, from you I receive, and to you I give. Such is life, such is being, such is spirit, and such is love.